Hello, everyone, and welcome to another week of the Meadows and Makers podcast brought to you here on MSP Waves. And my name is Greg Dowd. I am your host, and welcome to the show. And just as Rondon commented there at the beginning of the show here, I shaved my beard. I took most of it off, so what you're seeing right now, if you're watching on mspwaves.com /watch, then you're seeing my screen, you're seeing my face, and you're seeing that I shaved my beard. So anyway, I've been doing some personal improvements and stuff, and I've been trying to. I've been working with a personal trainer. I've been losing some pounds, and so I decided to shave most of the beard off. So anyway, it was really weird in the beginning, and I'm just now getting used to it a little bit. So yeah, I know. I always I do that. I try to reach for the beard and try to grab the beard, and I can't do that now. So and the thing about it is that I have a really round face, and I really don't have a chin, and that's why I grew the beard. Was to have a chin, and now the chin is gone, and so I'm just trying to get used to that, and so yeah, it takes a little bit of getting used to, but yeah, I think I might keep it trimmed for a little while. I don't know, and we'll see, and and so Rondon, you're gonna go and grow yours out. So yeah, it's like a yo-yo effect. Like I'll shave mine, and then somebody else, you guys adopt the beard. So it's all good, It's that's how it rolls. So right in the beginning here, let me just get this out of the way. A little home housekeeping, I guess you would call it. You got to call it housekeeping. So anyway, this show is hosted through MSP Waves and the wonderful people that keep this going around here. So the views and opinions that are reflected on the show or expressed on the show are about the views and opinions expressed on the show do not reflect on MSP Waves or the wonderful people that the wonderful people that keep this operation going around here. Yeah, yeah. So that's what my shirt says. It's from Owen Benjamin. It's Pumpy the Bear, and only you, only you can prevent sodomy, and that is up to you. And so yeah, I am an Owen Benjamin fan. I'm a fan of his comedy, and so that's what it is. I have a gay brother, and I give him a hard time. I give everybody a hard time. I'm not for the whole PC culture and all that. So so anyway, if you guys have been following me for a while, I know, right? How dare you? How dare you? So yeah, I mean, if that's your thing, whatever. But only you can prevent it. So there you go. Um, Today's show, I want to start off with a little motto. But my opening quote today is from Bill Mollison. He is a permaculturist. And the motto I want to open with today is this: I teach self-reliance, the world's most subversive practice. I teach people how to grow their own food, which is shockingly subversive. So yes, it's seditious, but it's peaceful sedition, and that's by Bill Mollison. So there you go. Bill Mollison was I guess you can consider him the founder of modern permaculture, and permaculture, as we talk about it today, is probably an ancient practice, and the the practice of permaculture is one that I think ancient civilizations probably had a good handle on, and so you know, I think in many ways we're really seeing a return to permaculture and small farms and local food distribution. We've definitely seen the effects of food and the food supply chain during this whole pandemic crisis and this whole pandemic issue. And so, for a long time on the show that we've talked about that. We've talked about how bringing on different guests, and definitely the conversations between myself and Robbie. We've really stressed that fact that the supply chain runs on just-in-time deliveries and all that system. So, it's always good to begin. Start where you are and go where you can, and so that's a big thing. Just start where you are, and don't think that you have to, grow all your own food all at once, because you're setting yourself up for failure. Is the thing, and what you want to do is you want to start small and work your way up, and that's something that I've been working on for years now, and trying to do different experiments with different things. And so that's really what I'm all about. And what this show is all about is to try to express to you guys some of my journey on what I'm doing to move towards self-reliance and the things that I'm kind of learning along the way. And so yeah, this is this is the reason I move in this direction. And so let's look at the chat here for a minute, because there's some interesting things going on in chat here. So we'll see. Mike host, food can control people and farmland can be seized. So control your food and water. Great idea. Yeah, absolutely, man. Mike host. Yeah, it's very useful for control over a population is the control of food. And, if you go and look throughout history, then you're going to see that people use the control of the food supply to gain control over the population of humanity. So, anyway, with that being said, today, I have a few questions for you guys. And, well, I wanted to start off with a question. Of, and it's a question for myself too. Would you give up your smartphone? Or would you change your habits to leave your smartphone at home, and only carry one for an emergency? This is a question that I'm asking myself right now, especially with this whole contact tracing app that's going on, and contact tracing that they're pushing through smartphones. And one of the things that so I kind of wanted to post that to the audience here today, and just ask that question. Would you be able to give up your smartphone? Would you be able to, now that it is so ingrained in us, to use these devices, and we've used them to make our lives easier, would you give up your smartphone? And what are some solutions to these tracing apps? What are some solutions that I'm talking to a really smart audience out there, and so what do you guys think? What do you guys think on this? And what are the solutions besides carrying a dumb phone let's say a phone that you can remove the battery or something like that, a flip phone or something. Do you guys have any solutions out there for this kind of an issue? Because I really don't want to be a part of this whole contact tracing thing. I don't want to give them any more data than they need. I really don't want to be a part of it, and so I've really been struggling. And one of the things I wanted to bring up is that I work part time in this prosthetic shop, and part of working part time there is that they tied everything. I used to just report my hours on paper, and just recently they switched over to a phone app, and so the only way I can log my hours for the day, and the system that these guys have switched over to at the shop I work at, is through a telephone app. And so you have to have a smartphone to have that app to be able to log in and clock in for your hours for work. And so I just kind of want to see, how many people are kind of seeing things like that. And, this whole control grid that's kind of laying out in front of us right now. What are you guys seeing out there as far as that? And I know, I have an Android smartphone, and, recently I realized that, just going through the settings, that there's a COVID-19, app in there that's going to be, I don't know if it's going to be running in the background, or they say you have to voluntarily download some app or something and have your Bluetooth engaged and all this stuff. So, from what I looked into on the app itself and going into this, so I don't know. I just kind of want to hear a little bit about what you guys are talking, and what you guys think about that kind of stuff. So Solo says, I find it too useful to leave it at home. And then he's saying, just don't have a phone that's not rooted. Okay. Michael says, wow, good question. A lot of people addicted to being connected. Yeah. Solo came back and said, rooting, you can remove almost anything on it. Okay. Fox, it says Bitcoin goes to 20,000, then I can do this. Patient Zero says something about white guy versus black guy in Clown World. Let's see. If Grayscale allows that, they probably won't. Let's see. All right. One good idea. 1 minute. He's going to send a link. Fox at RK. Please, can you put the white man instead of just white man? For me, just put black man in LO. Okay, let's see. All right, Mexican Spock, welcome. It's good to see you. Mexican Spock loves being tracked by the CIA. It makes him feel special. Okay, cool. Okay, great. Fox, I see that you did post a solution there, and it's a Faraday sleeve for phones, small and medium sizes. Silent Pocket patented Faraday cage that blocks all signals, and from your wireless device, patented Faraday bag that protects privacy, security, and health. Hey, I think that might be a good solution as well. As much as also with what Solo is saying, root it and remove it. So that's a couple of options, I guess, is to root the phone, and then to have some kind of Faraday device. And Fox has put a Faraday sleeve up there on the chat room, so that's something to go check out. Rondon is saying his phone is essentially a game device while he goes to the bathroom, and then other than that, it's in airplane mode. There you go. Mexican Spock saying all my phones are rooted, son. All right. Yeah. So anyway, I guess I need to that's something I need to research, is how to root a phone. And you know, it looks like we got some people that are familiar with how to do that in the audience here. So, so yeah, great. So there's some options uh, for still retaining the smartphone, but then being less able to track what's going on. So hey, Crimson Cloud, we're talking about is options for if you want to carry a smartphone around, but you really don't want to be part of the whole contact tracing apps and all this stuff like that. And so we're just talking about solutions. That's really what my show, what I like to keep my show about is different solutions that we can go into and become more self-reliant and not, retain our privacy, stay outside of the system as much as possible. So anyway, Solo, you're saying I've given up on baked ROMs. They get too glitchy on all the devices I've owned. Okay. Then Mexican Spock says, why don't I want to be part of the contract tracing, though? Yeah, contact tracing, though. I just don't want to be harassed. I want to keep my privacy, and I don't want to have, contact tracer larpers coming around and trying to peer into what's going on in my business. So anyway, that's great. So there's some great things that you guys suggested there, and put it out there. So what if you're a super spreader? Yeah, that's one thing that I've been looking into recently. And I'm gonna do more research into that, but I need to look into this more, and especially for the people that are young and that have a healthy immune system. That I believe there's been a study out there that has talked about asymptomatic people. And so anyway, one of the big things that I think that we all got to ask ourselves in this whole hysteria is that, let's use a little common sense here. Are people just keeling over in the streets and we have some kind of like crazy death rate of this thing? And as far as I can see, the death rate is no worse than the seasonal flu, and we deal with that every year. And compared to car deaths and suicides, you're outpacing the whole COVID thing. So anyway, I think that that it's better to. I think there's another agenda going on here, definitely with this whole the hysteria, and that definitely we're looking at a pandemic event, and that there's another option. There's another option to move in a better direction. And so Mike was saying, well, sure, but the seasonal flu doesn't have people overcrowding and rushing to the hospitals. A lot of people are not going to go unless they're really sick. So yeah, I mean, how have we dealt with disease up until this point? Okay, and does it have everybody running around wearing masks after every flu season? If you're sick, stay home. Take care of yourself. Get better. Don't go to work or whatever. If you have might have an opportunity, you might just be spreading something. And other than that, use your own discretion. If you're a person that is at risk, an elderly person that may have a compromised immune system, a person with a compromised immune system, take your own precautions. Take the precautions that you feel is necessary. But let's not shut down the world's economy, and let's not have everybody stay at home, because that's gonna be protection for all. Remember, the path to hell is paved with good intentions, and uh, so you go down that road trying to help others, but you really don't realize the consequences of your actions. So so anyway, uh, they're talking about all kinds of things, in my local area. I'm in the Huntsville, northern Alabama area in the United States, and so they're talking about all kinds of, they've been playing around with the idea of making masks mandatory. Well, my question is that if masks are effective, then all business should return to normal, right? I'm just asking. I just want to ask that question. If masks were effective, then all business should return to normal. Correct? I just want to hear a couple people chime in on that. If masks were effective, then all business should return to normal. So, something to think about. Masks are better than nothing. Okay. um. So, I just think that let's look at some of the facts, and let's look at what wearing a mask does to you. What does a mask do to you when you're wearing that mask? A lot of people complaining of headaches and having difficulties with headaches and things like that. Well, when you're breathing into these masks, you're not expelling all your carbon dioxide. You're rebreathing in some of that carbon dioxide, and so your oxygen, your ability to pull in enough oxygen is going to be hindered from that. And so let's look at that. So this is just something I want to know. Okay, so if masks are inherently effective, then all business should return to normal. But that's not the case, right? And so would that mean that maybe masks are ineffective? And if so, then what's the point in wearing them? So there you go. Anyway, so that's the thing, is that let's I know everybody wants to, and I'm sorry for the people that are dying of this, but listen, we can't prevent death, and death is a part of being a human being. And so what people that are, and no fault to you, I mean, I think really the people that are afraid of death really don't know the Creator. And really, I believe if you do know the Creator, and you are a spiritual person, you realize that this physical existence is only a temporary thing. So, and that fear is not part of the Creator, and we're all part of the Creator, and so this is only a temporary existence, and so there's not even really a need to fear. So there you go. That's my viewpoint on it. And in any case, I don't think that it should be. You should use force to tell anyone that they should do. You should compel anyone to do anything. and use force to make somebody to do that. And so uh so yeah, so like I said, if you're a at-risk person and you are you may have some kind of illness or some kind of immune deficiency of some kind, take your precautions and and boost your immune system. Boost your immune system through things like vitamin C. One source of vitamin C that we talked about on last week's episode is pine needles. And pine needles are an extremely high source of vitamin C, and that anybody can go and grab some pine needles, and you can create a pine needle tea. So, so there you go. And apparently, Solo is dropping some hive masks. Apparently, you can show your support for the hive community while wearing a mask that has the hive logo on it. So there you go. I did see a really funny meme recently. Let me see if I could pull it up here. Where it was talking about how you have to wear the mask on the back of your face to get your ears in the right position. I can't find it, but I will post this one because this one's pretty good. Right there it says Mesolithic hunter-gatherer. I sure love living on a diverse diet of meat, seeds, fruits, and nuts and not living in crowded conditions. Means I hardly ever have to worry about catching any viruses. And then you have the Neolithic farmer. Achoo! Sorry, some kind of flu or something is getting passed around the village. Boy, I hope I have enough grain to get through the winter. Otherwise, my family will be gone for sure. And then you get to modern man. I literally cannot survive without Grubhub. If I'm outside, I'm dead. Oh man. So yeah, it's become a fashion. Yeah. It's like have you guys seen the COVID-19 essentials store that's popped up? Uh where they're selling hand sanitizers and masks and all this stuff. So, hey, I'm not gonna knock it. So I mean, if you can find a way to make a little money, I think all everybody is gonna really have to. I mean, what are you guys thoughts on this? Are we ever going back? We're not ever going back to business as usual. I don't think. Going back to having the 9 to 5 jobs and yeah, it created new businesses. So what it's Solo saying, yeah, buy 3M stock. There you go. And then Mycos is saying COVID destroys the economy but creates new businesses. Yeah, I know, right? There's COVID-19 essentials. People got to get their hand sanitizers and face masks and all that. And then you also, you probably got your liquor and your cigarettes too that are going up. So everybody's stressed the fuck out. So it's really time, get your liquor and your cigarettes, boys. So anyway, yeah. So yeah, I want to kind of pose that question on what's going on as far as the tobacco goes. I think that I think I might be raising some of my own tobacco, and I've talked about how tobacco can be used for a barter item, and I've been reading on how it can also be used as a pest. It can be used as a pest repellent as well, I believe. Kind of a natural insecticide, and so yeah. So that's something I kind of learned from this guy Stefan Verstappen, and he was talking about how he's been in certain situations that were getting kind of uh, serious, where the seriousness of the situation was getting pretty heated, and they was able to diffuse the situation with a little bit of alcohol and some cigarettes or something you could pass out to people. So never forget the power of people wanting to alter their state of consciousness in times of crisis. So that's kind of one thing I wanted to dive into. I wanted to dive a little bit into what it's going to take and what you guys think it's going to take to get through this situation. Right now, I think what we're facing is actually the greatest depression that this world has ever seen. Not to be a super Debbie Downer about the whole entire situation, but this is reality, and this is the reality that we're living in right now. And so, the thing that I wanted to cover today is somebody that got through the economic collapse and the economic collapse in Argentina. And so I wanted to read a little bit of an excerpt from this book. It's called Surviving the Economic Collapse, and it was written by Fernando Ferfal Aguirre, based on first-hand experience of the 2001 economic collapse in Argentina. So yeah, it's raining here in Alabama, and I am at my folks' place, and so I was gonna do the podcast out on their back porch, but yeah, it's raining. It's raining a lot. So anyway, all that rain was gonna be a deal. So I sacrifice the rain for the phone calls. So anyway, all right. So let's see here. I'm gonna take a short little break. I'm gonna play you guys a little bit of music. And then I'll be back, and we'll talk a little bit about what happened in the Argentinian economic collapse in 2001. And then I want to get into some other stuff. Last week I showed you guys a little thing about deluge and how to patient zero. You don't come on air. I'll welcome you on air. I've never heard you speak, though, ever. And so, yeah, you're welcome to come on air with me. There you go. But anyway, guys, how about we play you guys a little track by The Devil Makes Three. Let's get into this book a little bit. Let's get into Surviving the Economic Collapse, the Modern Survival Manual from first-hand experience of the economic collapse in Argentina. So, he says during the book, during 2001, we had days of pure anarchy. And I'd like to address this is where they relate anarchy and the word anarchy to mean chaos, when truly anarchy means it means no masters, and and it comes from the prefix "an," which means without, and then archy, which means archon or master. So anyway, that's been going around the news a lot lately. They've been saying, "Oh, the anarchy," but anarchy is truly, just people wanting to live their life on their own terms and be peaceful people, and So there you go, and not harm others. All right, so 2001, we had days of pure anarchy, and that lawlessness lasted for weeks in most places. Some places in the capital city were secured faster, but then there are others where even today cops just try to keep a minimum illusion of security. This mostly happens in the suburbs and not that much in the capital downtown district. I can tell you this, cities and towns exist for a reason, and no cities around the world won't go up in flames, and everyone will not move to the countryside living as settlers. It won't happen. Of course, there are advantages to living in the country. Who would want to be surrounded and live surrounded by nature? But you know what? When the shit hits the fan, things change a lot. And if there's something you can learn from similar events around the world, it's that people out of the cities in the countryside get hit hard. Even during good times, many survivalists have accepted that their off-grid retreat dreams left them bankrupt. And well-known survivalist author Mel Tapan accepted that he could live on his ranch the way he did thanks only to his wife's family fortune. Security, there's little or no police presence at all. What do you expect? What are you going to expect? Street robberies are of course something that doesn't happen that much because of the low population, but the kind of home invasions people living in the country have suffered here in Argentina are the stuff of nightmares. The same tranquility that people like so much works in the bad guy's favor. You can scream all you want, but no one will hear you. They can spend days in your house raping and torturing without worry if your neighbors saw them go in or detected some other suspicious movement. You're kidding. Life is much better in the country. A guy from work told me. I come from a little farming town. Everything is so quiet. Well, except for what happened to Mr. Gonzalez. Somehow, bad guys learned that he had sold a few acres, and they tortured him to death to make sure that he hadn't any more money buried somewhere. People are like that. Everything is fine and dandy except for the brutal little home invasion murder. I asked him if that happens often. He said, of course not. It just happened once, only one time a few months ago, when a man also sold some property. Other than that, it's mostly people just stealing cattle or some crops. So you see, people, we go from a safe little farming community to 2 brutal murders and constant theft in less than a year. It doesn't sound so safe now. My point is, life in the country sure can be great, but while it may be very safe while things are fine, it will be hit hard by crime when shit hits the fan. For crying out loud, people, use that thing between your ears called a brain and think like criminals for a second. If you're a ruthless robber, rapist, or murderer, who do you attack? The house surrounded by people, or the neat house full of stuff, probably with lots of food, gear, and guns, located out in the middle of nowhere? Here's where the chest thumping starts. I'll set up guard with my buddies. We'll shoot first. We'll ask questions later. No, you won't. Unless you can afford to pay 24/7 security, your buddies will eventually get tired and go home. They'll lose interest or find better jobs than standing guard all day for food and shelter alone. About shooting first and asking questions later. Yes, that's a nice way to end up in jail. And let's see. I just saw, Patient Zero. I'll bring you on, and we'll talk to. No one said when shit hits the fan, life would be fair. The police won't be there to protect you, but they'll be there to put you behind bars. That's life. You don't like it? Sue God. State Senator Ernest W. Chambers from Nebraska actually did it in 2007, sort of as a joke. In terms of security, do you want to know how farmers live in Argentina? They spend most of their day and some of their night firing a couple warning shots when they see trespassers, and they accept the loss of a share of their crops as something unavoidable. Shoot the 10-year-old stealing from you, you'll end up in jail, and once they let you go a few years later, you'll realize that 10 more starving kids ready to take his place. Stuff like that happens in a country with a 50% poverty rate and 25% living below the poverty line. Of course, none of this happens in the good old USA because you still have a long way to go before you reach our calamity level, and hopefully you'll never get there. I'm setting the record straight. Reality versus fantasy and wishful thinking in terms of security. You'll be much safer in a good neighborhood than living alone with no neighbors. If the experience I relate to you about Argentina isn't convincing enough, do some research on Rhodesian farmers and how over 4,000 of them were killed even after increasing their security levels beyond most survivalist expectations. Being far less dramatic, also think about more mundane things. Why did people create and move into cities in the first place? Wait a second. Don't Google it up. I know because I've studied in college as part of my urbanism studies. The first known cities in the Middle East 10,000 years ago were created because of two reasons. Number one, security. Of course, being alone makes you an easy victim, just like today. Raiders and wild animals were the greatest threat. Number two, trade and work. One poor crop could cause a family to starve to death. The first paid jobs were something that appealed to many. It's pretty simple, but some people don't seem to understand what a normal job, like most have today, is a good idea, and why, after all, it becomes the most common thing. Jobs are the reason people started moving from the country to the city after the Industrial Revolution, and the reason why cities became overpopulated. They were preferred to live crowded into pestilent quarters in the city than living in the country. Why? Because they were all so stupid and lazy. The guy on the internet I read about the other night is right, and he's an anonymous freaking genius. I don't think so. What do you think will happen when there's 25% unemployment? Even when people will move into the cities looking for work, not the other way around. We saw here in Argentina, and every country went through the same thing. Saw it as well. I do not recommend living in a large city, though. Many of the city problems after the shit hits the fan are really enough, and they are better alternatives. I recommend basically what I learned Mel Tapan recommended as well. Live in a small town or community. This community or subdivision should be close enough to a moderately sized city with enough job opportunities. Education and entertainment. People need to have social and cultural life. You need job opportunities in case you can no longer make a living doing what you do now. You need jobs for your wife and eventually for your children as well. Here's another thing that he brings up that I wouldn't even have thought about. Homeschooling is something deeply rooted in the survivalist community, but sorry to burst your bubbles, you can do that only today because the shit hasn't hit the fan yet, and you're still living the good life, and not the post-collapse survivor life. Most people won't be able to afford that anymore. Mommy will have to go out and find a job or make enough profit working on the farm or running a home business. She won't have time to educate the kids properly. Those kids will grow up with fewer tools than the kids who had better education. If you somehow manage to make things work differently, then that's just great. I'm just stating that what will happen is a great majority of people, based on what happened here with stay-at-home moms and moms that worked at home. Again, other countries went through the same thing. They can tell a similar story. Both parents work, and either grandparents or nanny of some sort watches over the kids if they can't go to school all day like they do here with bilingual schools. All right, so so anyway, that's something that I just wanted to relate to you guys, and just some things to think about maybe the current situation that's going on, maybe some things that you weren't thinking about. There were definitely some things that I hadn't totally confronted when I first read his book, and really thought about, the ideal is to live in the country, right? The ideal is that you go and you build your ideal environment out in the country to escape, all the craziness that's happening in the cities with the smart city rollouts and all this stuff happening and rolling out. So anyway, that's that's something I wanted to share with you guys, and something to make you think about, is that this is something that happened in Argentina, and I highly suggest that you go and find this book and see if you can download it through something that something that I showed you guys last week, that deluge, to be able to find BitTorrents and get into finding books that you might run across this book on consend.org, the website that I gave you guys, looking up torrents and everything like that. So this book may actually exist on Consend. You could get it that way. You can buy it on Amazon, and I'll post that when I get this episode up. And so there you go. That's what's up. So I'm gonna look up and P4ieN Zero. I don't know if he was being serious or not, but if you said it, man, I'm bringing you on. So So let's see. Hey, Patient Zero, what's up, man?
Hey, how are you doing, Greg?
Whoa, good to hear your voice, man. Pretty good.
Nice to hear from you. Listen, I think I speak for everyone in the audience, especially Mycos, when I say that we want you to prove that you're not a racist.
Okay.
I mean, you're obviously a white male and privileged as fuck. I mean, you are obviously very privileged. I mean, how are
I know,
you
right?
not? How are you not a racist? I mean, can you prove it to us that you're not a racist?
uh, I see everybody
And
as a human
let
being.
me just ask you this: have you ever had sex with a black woman?
No, no. I guess.
And you know, you're probably a racist. I mean, is that what happened? Are you a racist?
No, not a racist.
But,
And
but what's holding you back? What's holding you black? I mean, back. What's holding you back?
yeah, I guess that's oh yeah, when people say that they're not racist and then it's listen, to me, this is what racism is. It is an outward hatred towards somebody of another race. And there isn't there aren't other races to me. It's the human race. So
No,
we're all one race.
you're 100% correct. And you know what? Kenny's Kitchen. I don't know if you know Kenny's Kitchen. He's a Tribes Team Up. He's a Tribes Team Up guy, but he did this recent post, and the first thing I did was I read the post and I was like, yeah, this is a great post. Right? Then I started to go through the videos, and there's like 7 different gem videos on this post. They're
Yeah.
fantastic. They are fantastic videos. And this one guy, this white lady is interviewing this black man. And this black man that she's interviewing is like a freaking genius. I mean, he's thought of things that I haven't even thought of before. And I can't say that for most of anything on the internet that I've ever seen before in my life. Right? He's thought of things so deeply that I have not thought of them before. And I was like, whoa. Right?
Huh. Cool.
Right. So if
You'll have to post that in the comments. I'd like to go check that out.
yeah, I'll post it. But what I'm saying is like it's like he goes into things so deeply. It's like everybody should be going there. Everybody. Anyways, I'm gonna post it. I'm gonna just shut up for a second.
Okay. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And last week I posted a great interview by it was by Immortal Technique, the rapper. And he was getting interviewed. And of course there is I'm no fan of the police. All right. And when you go back into the whole history of the police, that's you know the history of the police it comes from the slave patrols. Municipal police come from the slave patrols back in the day. Another thing I want to say about this whole slavery thing is that the history of human beings, we have been putting each other in enslavement for recorded history. And so we've all, I've never been I've never been a overt slave, but I am a covert slave living in the system that we have today by somebody owing I owe my income tax to somebody, or I owe part of my wages and labor to somebody else. The federal government claims that they owe part of my labor and wages. At what point does that at what point of them taking that money that I've earned is not equivalent to slavery? And so when somebody else owns a portion of your time and your efforts into creating and being productive, then I would say, that's a form of slavery. It's not overt slavery. Like nobody's got me in shackles and nobody's whipping me to do something, or it's not an overt form of slavery, but it is a covert form of slavery where somebody says that they own a portion of your time and labor and wages.
Listen, man. You're just trying to hide your racism, understand this, and we all know that you are institutionalizedly racist. How can you prove that your institutions are not racist?
My institutions? What institutions?
I don't know. When you make stuff, is it equal opportunity? Do you disallow black people in general? Or why are you racist?
Oh, it's just the South will rise again. That's
If I'm
all,
a if my skin is melanin in its flavor, does that mean I can't make stuff too?
No, everybody can make stuff, and in fact, that's part of our divine spark, and part of creation is if you, and that's kind of the two choices that I think that we all have as
But no,
human beings.
that's fine. But will you lay down and plank and show me that you respect me as a person?
Absolutely not.
Uh,
I won't do that for anybody.
well, you know what? I can respect that. I can respect that.
Yeah, yeah, I won't do that for anybody. So
That's good. That. You know what that makes you?
that makes me somebody that can independently think, and
So it also makes you a stand-up guy.
oh man, that was a good pun. Nice, Patient Zero. I dig it. So yeah. What's going on with you? And what's some? I know you posted the great thing by Kenny Paltriano. So you posted a couple of videos here. So these were the videos that you're talking about, or you
Listen,
posted one video.
he posted this post. I went through and I quick read it and I reposted it, but I didn't go through the videos. And then that was stupid of me. It was really stupid of me because when I started to go through the videos, I got to the second video. The second video is the one that I posted right up top there. Second video is like, oh my God, this guy and this girl, they are so smart. Like this guy in particular, he's so smart. He's the one demonstrating most of his knowledge, and she's the one interviewing him. This guy is so very smart. I mean, he's thought of things that I have never even contemplated before in my life, and that's very, very difficult for me to not have contemplated something. And I'm not trying to be braggadocious or anything, but I'm just trying to say, like, this guy has thought through all of the thoughts, and he's a
Yeah,
smart freaking dude. He's a smart dude, but he's
smart.
also he's not racist. He's not, but he understands the fact that there is some racism. There's definitely some racism. But at the same time, he understands the whole freaking paradigm. He understands the whole paradigm. I haven't even finished watching the whole interview. I've watched about half of it. I want to continue the other half of it. But Kenny's got like 6 more videos on this post, and it's freaking amazing. It's freaking amazing. And if you go through and if you watch these videos, it's like they will, if you're not woke already, they will wake you up.
Whoa, super woke. Hell yeah. That's woke AF. Cool, man. I'm gonna go check those out for sure. Um, so yeah, man. Uh, how's everything else been going for you through this whole crisis and this whole hysteria?
I gotta say, I think that the COVID is the fucking.
It cure it cures all other diseases, doesn't it?
I think it's real. I think it's real. And I think it's fast HIV. That's what I think it is. I think that this spreads really, really rapidly. Nobody's going to be able to avoid getting it. You're all going to get the COVID, and you're all going to fucking die. But what I'm saying is like, what I'm saying is like, it's HIV. According to the guy who does the things and stuff, it's HIV. You're all getting HIV. You're all going to fucking die if you don't get CRISPR edited. And when they roll that fucking shit out, that's when they'll tell you that, oh my God, it's serious. Oh my God, COVID is so serious. It's AIDS like. Quote me on this shit right now. AIDS me forward slash like. They're going to say it's AIDS like. That's what they're going to do. And people are going to beg and they're going to clamor and they're going to reach for and they're going to desire the vaccine, whether it works or not, whether the vaccine kills them or not. They are going to want it like nothing ever before. By the time it comes out, they're going to make you want it so bad, you're going to try and get it.
Yeah, man. I really think that that's something that is a big possibility. Is that well, it indefinitely will be what I can really see as a possibility happening is that if you don't take some kind of vaccine either, it will be very difficult for you to go about your normal business in society as well. So
To address what Clyde said, nobody knows what the fuck HIV AIDS is. Nobody knows what the hell it is. Nobody in their lifetime has ever died of HIV AIDS. They die of flu. They die of this. They die of that. They die of that stuff that's in your bloodstream, your immune system not destroy. Our immune systems are immaculate design. They are immaculate. They destroy everything that is trying to destroy us. That's what our immune systems do. If we get a disease that destroys our immune system, we will die of anything and everything. And that's what the current system is showing. It's showing that all these people with quote unquote premorbidities are dying of COVID. It only makes sense if you replace COVID with AIDS. Then it makes sense. Then it makes sense that, oh yeah, this person is HIV positive, and yeah, they caught a flu, and yeah, that's why they died, because their body couldn't prevent the flu from happening.
so you're saying it's like people that already have an immune disorder or some immune dysfunction,
No, I'm saying that
AIDS.
COVID is AIDS. COVID is AIDS. If you go on it, if you do the research, okay, inertia. But let me ask you this, inertia. Let me ask you this. Look in the guy who invented the Bioterrorism Act of 1983 and look at his testimony and tell me that he's not full of shit.
Well, I don't discount that that there have been uh, the government has been involved in using biological agents and testing things on people. I mean, look at the Tuskegee experiments. Look at all the things that are injected to into the people in the military and experimented on, basically used as human guinea pigs. And so I haven't gotten to where you're at as far as this goes, as far as like the whole AIDS thing. I've definitely been going down the rabbit hole with the.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. They don't say that it is that COVID is AIDS. They don't say that COVID is. They say that it's got the spike glycoprotein um that transfers AIDS. They say it's got a part of AIDS in it. The
Hmm.
only person who's saying this is Professor Francis Boyle. He's been saying it since fucking February. Dude, he's been on fucking point. It's the beginning of this whole goddamn thing. Nobody is paying attention to it. Nobody is paying attention to it. This guy authored the Bioterrorism Act of 1983. This guy is not to be trifled with. He's the real deal. He's been warning about this because he's been concerned about this. It's the real deal.
I'll look into that, but you know what, man, I've been, uh, you know what are your thoughts on civilization resets? What are your thoughts on that? Do you think that might have happened in maybe our not too recent past, and maybe you know does civilization get to a point where it just becomes too complex or something and just collapses in on itself, and then humanity is like going in a cycle of starting over? What do you think about that? Patient Zero, you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. Listen. I'm trying to look at what Inertia's saying. The dick has me on mute, anyways. But listen, I'm trying to address what you're saying. You're saying AIDS. Did I confuse AIDS with HIV? AIDS is autoimmune deficiency syndrome.
Do we even know enough about AIDS? What
I'm
what
trying to.
what if these drugs that they give you
No, no, no,
to
no, no,
cure
no.
AIDS actually cause AIDS?
Let me finish where it's going. HIV is human immunodeficiency virus. They're the same goddamn thing. They're the same thing. Oh, listen, inertia. I'm talking to you. I know you're smart. I know you're a coder. I know you're good at shit. You're good at life. Good for you. But what I'm saying is autoimmune deficiency syndrome, a deficiency virus is the same goddamn fucking thing. It's the same thing. It is the same thing. We're talking about T cells being destroyed by this or that, a virus or whatever. If your T cells get so destroyed, your body can't protect you from the common fucking cold. That's why they're saying all these comorbidities are killing people. It's because they know eventually the fast AIDS is going to catch up with everybody.
Yeah, I will definitely look into that. I definitely am not for any type of.
Listen, make it stuff. You asked me a question about. I completely missed the
Yeah,
question
yeah,
because
yeah. I asked you about what do you think about civilizations being reset? Does it just get to a point in a civilization where things get a little too complicated, people go down the wrong type of systems, things collapse, and
I'd like to ask you what the civilization reset means to you. Like, what does that term civilization reset mean to you?
civilization reset would mean that there's a complete collapse of a previous civilization, and then the people that are left over are there to build a new one.
It's kind of like the fact that we're on the verge. We are hyperinflating right now. I don't think there's any doubt that we are hyperinflating and we are totally fucked. Totally fucked. As an economy, we are done. Take a fork in us, we're done. And exactly what you're hinting at, making stuff, is exactly what you're talking about. You're talking about making stuff. The fact that we all got to get on right now and start growing gardens and doing the goddamn thing, or we're gonna fucking die.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I've been trying to tell a lot of people for a while.
Yeah, listen. You are on target. You are doing the right thing, and I feel ashamed. I really do feel ashamed because I'm not into it. What you're into, as well as you are into it. And I've told you this before. I've told you this. Like before I joined your chat, I've told you that the reason I don't join is because I don't make shit. Right? I should be ashamed of myself. I should be ashamed of myself
No,
because
no, because everybody starts somewhere.
everybody's got to start somewhere, but we got to start learning that this is not going away.
Right,
This is going to end horribly until we start doing shit, making stuff.
right. Yeah, yeah. It's all. It really is our own responsibility to, if we want to live by the principles that well, uh, if I want to live by the principles that I espouse, that I really have to move into a direction of self reliance and personal responsibility.
So
And
the way that you're doing it, I gotta commend you, sir. Way that you are doing it is commendable. It's beautiful, and you're like, you know what? If you don't want to do it, do your own thing. Whatever you want to do, do it. But I'm here. I'm trying to teach you how to do the damn thing, which is survival, and you're not gonna fucking appreciate it until the dollar doesn't buy you a goddamn thing.
Yeah, and there's a lot of different options for us out there for people that can see and have ears to hear and eyes to see on what's really going on. That you know you don't have to go and go into the abyss. You can pull yourself up by the bootstraps, so to say, and start building yourself one little bit at a time. Just start, getting into, growing little things and growing things little by little, and finding like-minded people. And that really is the key, I think, is to just get yourself connected into a community of some kind. Find a farmer, find a local farmer, get to be their friend. Go down to the farmers market, just talk to them. Just like what's said in this surviving the economic collapse in Argentina. Things don't end. It just gets more difficult. It just gets more. Everything becomes more difficult, and uh, so if you adopt that attitude and you keep that positive mental attitude every day, and you keep working towards your goals of being more self-sufficient, one little bit at a time, then you can dispel a lot of this depression, anxiety, a lot of these feelings that a lot of people are having out there right now. You just take those actions little by little every day. That tomato. I saw a great meme out there recently. It's like, what really gives you power? And it's like having money, being political, being a status, having status, and then the last one, the thing that gives you the most power, growing a tomato
I feel
gives
like
you
I
the most
should
power.
feel like I should ask you some of the questions that have been building up inside of me with respects to how you're living your life. And gotta say,
I,
there is
I
a lot of appeal to what you're.
I've got a lot to work on, Patient Zero. I've got a lot to do in my own personal life, but
Well, no, I'm not calling you a god. I'm not calling you perfect. I'm not saying any of it. But what I'm saying is there's a lot of appealing aspects to the way that you're living your life, which is a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. And I've got to ask you some of these things. I've got to ask you, like, when it comes to your neighbors, do you feel like you're connecting well with your neighbors? Do you feel like you're making connections in all sorts of directions that are beneficial in the future? Do you feel like that, or how do you feel?
yeah, I stay close. I work to stay close to my neighbors. Every time I'm not there full time at my land. I'm working part time in a prosthetic shop, and I'm down there. When I'm down there, we help each other out. They come over. I wouldn't have been able to do some of the stuff that I did without their help. The neighbors had a tractor, and then they were able to help me move my shipping container and get that all in the right place and everything like that. And I've gone through some of these. I've gone through some of these kind of listening on this guy Stefan Verstappen, who I think is a great resource. Everybody should go and really listen to that guy, Stefan Verstappen, and he gives a lot of great resources to people. But one of the things that he revealed to me was that everything that you're doing for yourself to get yourself in a better position, donate 10% of that to your neighbors, the neighbors that are around you, and just everybody build the abundance together. And
Let
uh,
me let me ask you this: tomorrow rolls around, right? Tomorrow rolls around. The dollar has no value. I mean, you wipe your ass with it. It has more value if you wipe your ass with it than if you actually spend it. Um, how is your relationship with your neighbors going to be? Are you guys going to cooperate, or are you guys going to try to eat each other?
yeah, we're gonna cooperate. That's my hope, and trade between each other to the biggest degree. So you know they're growing food. They got animals. They got all that stuff. They actually have quite a bit of materials over on their property. I got quite a bit of tools. So yeah.
What you're saying is you're scoping out their property, right? I just
No,
playing.
no. I'm just saying that we both kind of have the similar mentality, and
What you're saying is they have things you can liberate if need be, right?
well, we trade. We already do it. We barter and trade between each other. So
I'm just messing with you, making stuff. I'm just
so
playing devil's advocate. I'm just saying that like I think what you're doing is laudable. It's good. It's very fucking smart, especially right now. It's very smart because we all need to start thinking about taking care of ourselves and taking care of the people around us because government is not going to be there to do it for us. I don't care what Michael says. It's not going to be there. It might be there. We can run on fumes and we can print money until we're blue in the face, and it will work maybe for 3 months, 1 year tops. When it's all said and done, the bureaucrats who are in control of the whole free money system are going to be like, oh my God, if we want this free money shit to keep working, we got to kill a lot of fucking people. And that's what's going to go down. That's what's going to go down. They're going to start killing people to make the free money continue to work. That's what's going to happen.
yeah, and the whole issue with and one of the things that I would like to bring Mykos on the air and talk to him about is the whole UBI issue, and a lot of people talking about this UBI thing, universal basic income. Even my younger brother is a huge fan of the whole universal basic income thing. Well, how about we stop paying taxes and stop giving all our money to the government? and
Exactly. And
and
you nailed it. You nailed it right there. You're like, you want to give out free money? Fuck free money. Let's just stop paying income taxes. Let's all of us stop paying income taxes right now
yeah.
because who needs this fucking war in the middle of fucking the Middle East? Who gives a shit about the Middle East? I don't care about Israel. I don't care about Palestine. Fuck all of you. I'm living here. I don't want to pay for any of that shit. Fuck you.
Absolutely. And what? What would really change everything overnight is that if everybody were to take what they have in their bank accounts and they just transfer it all into precious metals and cryptocurrencies, and we just start using those instead of the dollar, and then that whole
Exactly.
system just disintegrates.
All we got to do is legalize true and real currency. All we got to do is legalize true and real currency. If we can legalize silver, if we can legalize gold, everybody will invest in it because of its inherent value. Listen, if you take $20,000, let's think about Bush era or Obama era time period. Obama, he inflated the debt so much that at one point the value of gold doubled, the value of silver doubled. At one point during Obama's reign, the value of silver or gold doubled. And if you think about that shit, listen, after it was pointed out that the
Yeah,
value of,
Solo's got a point there. I mean, you can use it right now, Patient Zero. You can do all your transactions in silver. It is legal.
listen, at one point
So
when it was pointed out that the value doubled so much, like it changed so much, they started selling lots of gold paper and gold silver. They started selling lots of that shit to hide the fact, like all these people holding gold paper and silver notes, you're not going to be able to get your fucking alloy. You are screwed. You are fucked so bad. It's unbelievable.
yeah, actually, you want to hold physical silver, you want to hold physical gold, and you want to hold your private keys in cryptocurrencies, and that's the only way you own it. And then
I
yeah.
I feel so bad. I feel so bad making stuff. You're such a nice guy. You're obviously like biting your lip because I'm on here cursing up so much foul language that it's horrible. I'm a horrible human being. But what I'm saying is like you're a great human being. You're doing the thing, doing fantastic, and I think that you are prime example of somebody who is paving the way with his own example. You're doing good things, man. You're doing good things.
Hey, man, I appreciate it. A lot of times it feels like, yeah, I was gonna bring this up.
No, listen. Do not feel worthless. Do not feel worthless, because I swear to God, you're paving the way for the frickin' future. And listen, if you don't think you're paving the way for the frickin' future, then you don't understand that this economy is collapsing. Once you understand this economy is collapsing and the future is where you are headed, once you realize that the future is where you are headed, you can understand and appreciate yourself and what you're doing.
Yeah, man. Well, I mean, yeah, it's something that I've been trying to, I don't know, just get people to see anyway. And so, yeah, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate those words because yeah, a lot of times I say a lot of stuff. I don't know if a lot of people are getting it. And
Listen, you don't have to worry. You don't have to worry about it, because I swear to God, in like less than 12 months, everybody's gonna be getting it. Everybody's gonna try to start planting shit, and they're gonna try their hand at farming, and they're not gonna know what the hell they're doing. But they're gonna need people like you to show them.
yeah, yeah, and that's what I'm trying to prepare myself for, trying to become a better leader and trying to, well, I wouldn't say I'm a natural leader, and just anyway, give people the knowledge. And I think there's a lot of knowledge out there, especially, and I don't want to be anybody's guru. I don't want to be anybody's, just like we're saying, I don't want to be anybody's like hero or anything like that. I just want to give you the knowledge so that you can take that knowledge and that you can apply it in your life, and definitely look into the things that I'm presenting and the things that I'm giving you as tools, so that you can take those tools and that you can enrich your own life and empower yourself. And one of the guys that I've been listening to recently, his name is Wes Watson. He did 10 years in the penitentiary, and he really discovered some things about himself and some things about his life. And what he said is take every day to build the best man that you can be, to give him away, to others. And so that's the thing, is that it's something I've realized in my life, is that when we're trying to go after only self pleasure, only self, always after the self, that that leads you nowhere. But you gotta give what you have to humanity. Give of yourself to humanity. Make yourself the best person you can be to give to others.
Oh,
And
dude,
so,
in 12 months or so, you're gonna want to fucking disappear off the face of the planet. 12 months or so, you're gonna be so goddamn popular. It's like, oh my God, how was I ever in this other mindset?
well, you know, that's what I'm trying to prepare myself for, physically and emotionally and spiritually. So, because I do see that, there's another way, and then that, that there there is another way. We don't have to. There
Let's
we,
let's
we
pretend let's pretend I'm a total noob, which I am. I'm a total noob. I don't know nothing about nothing. I don't know how to grow a garden or make a garden or do any of that stuff. But what is the crop that I would grow if I wanted to not starve to death and die a horrible fucking way?
potatoes. Potatoes, sweet potatoes, those guys, they they give you a lot of calories. You can go down to your grocery store. You can pick up a sack of potatoes right now for however much they cost. You can plant all those out. Those guys are going to give you more potatoes next season, and they're going to give you calories, and they're more calorie dense foods. So that's,
No, that makes perfect sense to me, because potatoes are really filling. Yeah, that makes total sense.
yeah. So those are going to be the most calorie dense things that you could go ahead and get planted, and then
Realistically, let's say I'm just one person in one plot of land. How many? How
also
many?
also chickens. I'm telling you, chickens and
uh,
growing. If
Let's
you're
let's just keep it simple. Let's just keep it simple. Let's say I'm desperate. I'm starving to death. I'm just one man on one plot of land. How many acres of potatoes do I need to grow to live 365?
To live year round, you're gonna need quite a few potatoes. I don't have that. I don't have that tallied up.
You're basically telling us survival is impossible. That's what you're saying, right?
Survival is going to be your ability to forage wild foods, which is something that I want to start getting into and teaching. And in fact, there's a really great documentary out there about the Sand People in Africa. And what they consisted on and their tribe consisted on was mostly foraged edibles. They foraged for a lot of their foods, wild edibles, and then only part of that was game that they hunted and took back to their tribe. So
Well, let me ask you this. I know that you're acutely aware of the fact that during the Great Depression, there was a very, very small percentage of farmers who were self-sustainable. And
it's very very difficult to be fully self sustainable on your own land. Very difficult.
right, so knowing that there were a very few amount of farmers that were self-sustainable during the Great Depression tells you that when we go through our next depression, which is currently happening right now, we just don't feel it yet because the shit hasn't run out yet. Once it runs out, we'll feel it, and then we will start starving, and then we'll start killing each other. All the shit will happen. Right? Um, how much worse are we going to be off? And we look back to the Great Depression and realize that they had so many more farmers than we do have now.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so that really is, it's a call back to the land. It's a call back to the victory garden, to everybody having a garden in their backyard, and communities getting together and creating gardens, and trying to grow
I
for the next 7 years, and start thinking in terms of, how am I going to have food for the next 7 years? Start thinking about long term like that.
Exactly. I think people need to understand, realize that the philosophy that you're selling to people is for their own goddamn good. It's for their own good. And I'm not saying, listen, I'm not, listen, to be quite frank,
Yeah.
a lot of things that you promote is not up my alley. It's not up my alley. But when the food runs out, I guarantee you it's going to be up my alley. It's gonna be the thing I'm gonna kick myself in the ass for, and I'm gonna be like, I should have been doing this ever since Greg was talking about this.
Well, yeah, to be honest, I don't know. I really don't know if the powers that should not be are going to let things go to total collapse of the system and the food supply. I think that to keep control over the population, and to keep, I don't know, however the sickness is in their minds, and how that is
I
that
think I think you're right. I think what their intention is. This whole thing
that
is a controlled collapse of the currency, and they're going to move us all onto the blockchain worldwide, and then they're going to use Skinnerism behavioralistic controls. Those positive and negative reinforcement. Do you want your universal basic income? Well, you better get your vaccines, because if you don't get your vaccines, you're not going to get your universal basic income. And
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
I really see it being that way, because because I think there is some kind of sick thing that they do where they really need you to through your own free will put yourself
they
in
have
put yourself
exactly
into slavery.
exactly. They have to make you consent to it. They have to make you consent. If you consent to your own slavery, there's no guilty consciences. There's no guilty anything. If you consent to your own slavery, they don't have to suffer the karmic consequences involved.
Right, right, and I think that's part of their mindset, is that they need you to consent, and so understanding that they need you to consent, that you do not consent. And so I got a bunch of these stickers that somebody donated to me. So if anybody wants to do, I do not consent. Let me know in a DM or something like that on uh on the old Discord, and we'll work something out. I'll get you one for being here and listening to the show. So yeah, they need our consent, absolutely, and it's some kind of twisted thing that well, it's part of karma, like you're saying that they absolve themselves from karma if you consent and you do go free will into this thing. And I really I was about to release a video on that I was talking exactly about that, is that the system, it completely needs your compliance in order to operate. And
Let me ask you this, making stuff. We know that you go hard. We know that you go hard on the making stuff, and we know that's your primary passion. Your primary passion is making stuff, growing stuff, and being self-sufficient. You know that's your primary passion, but what is your secondary passion? Like, what are the other things that inspire your mind to start thinking and get creative and do all the things and stuff?
uh spirituality, I guess. I've always been a very introspective person, so um
What
so
what what
so
what how would you define spiritual to start with? How would you define spirituality in your mind?
spirituality is seeking, I guess it's seeking the knowledge of the creator, really, or being in touch with the creator.
What do you feel that might be? What's the best way to be in touch with the creator?
Um, for me, I think that it's taking enough time every day to, in absence of any other external stimulation, to sit and just ask, how can I serve? How can I serve others, and how can I best serve my time in this form and existence? And
What do you feel the answer to that question is?
uh I feel that it is to serve creation, uh and to serve and to continue even further the creation.
Inspire creation by furthering creation.
Yeah.
Hashtag your namesake, making stuff. Teach people how to make stuff. Teach people how to create. Teach the creators that are already here, me, you, and everyone else. We are empowered. We are gods among ourselves, and we can make stuff. We can make stuff
Yeah,
happen too.
absolutely. We're all abundance generators. And every human being on this planet that exists on this planet has the ability to create magnificent abundance. And it's just it's our it's all up to the individual to realize that.
I almost
It's
heard you say it's our duty. We have to do it. We have to do it if we want to survive, don't we?
well, I, I kind of feel like it is it really is coming down to two choices. It really is. And the choice is either to, yeah, go in that direction, or go in the direction of total control
You
over
know,
humanity.
as Alan Watt say, and I don't mean Alan Watts, I mean Alan Watt from Canada say, we live in the age of austerity. And the thing is, he's been saying this for a long time now. The thing is we haven't realized it yet. Once we realize true austerity, we're going to realize this actually means that nobody gets anything. Right? We're totally screwed unless we start to make things for ourselves. In which case, like what you're saying, what you're promoting is totally true. We have to take care of ourselves.
Right. Yeah, it's the only true freedom. And so, yeah, it's just really the choice is that, do you wish to abdicate your personal freedom and your personal responsibility to somebody else, or do you wish to totally fully own your own personal responsibility and move forward in a positive direction for yourself, for your community.
And
Um,
that's what I pointed out before is like we're gonna roll into the space where Keynesianistic economics fail, and all we can do is print money because we're so desperate. All we can do is just printing. We're gonna print like madmen, right? We're gonna start, and we're gonna buy our own debt. We're gonna cannibalize our own debt. We're gonna buy like, oh, I see we're in debt. That's a problem. So let's buy our own debt. How much sense does that make? And oh, I see that people don't have jobs, so let's pay them not to work. How much sense does that make? It makes a lot of sense. That's all that you can do in a failing Keynesianistic economy system. That's all that you can do. But once you go down that road, the system is bound. It's actually it's going to fail no matter what you do. Once you start
yeah,
giving out the free, once you start giving out the free, and it's even worse than that. Once you give everybody a universal basic income, you're gonna feel so entitled. It's gonna be like, oh, everybody deserves to get everything, and because we don't have to work for it, they're gonna be like that. They're gonna be like, we deserve to get everything, and it should be free. And in a perfect world, maybe it should be free, but in the realistic, real world that we live in, it can't be free. And if it is free, we're so screwed. We're so screwed. Like once we
it comes
start,
with strings attached, right?
yes, once we start taking that money, can you imagine like we see the college kids today and we see what they're doing, right? Can you imagine if they felt entitled to a free income? And then we
Yeah.
can do it. We can do it. We can run on fumes for 3 months or 12 months. We can do that shit. But after 3 months or 12 months, everybody who says like they feel entitled to an income, do you know how pissed they're gonna be when they realize it doesn't fucking work? Do you realize how pissed off they're gonna be? Do you realize how many buildings and structures will burn to the ground because the free money stopped fucking working? Jesus Christ.
Well, yeah, and it's just nobody appreciates something that they didn't work to earn, and so you just don't have it. And if you want to have a real goods and services in the economy, you have to have people that are you have to have private property. You have to have people that are going to work to actually produce things.
And
And
a lot of people would say like I'm an evil person. I'm an evil person for saying all this shit. I'm not evil person. I'm not evil hearted. I love people. I want everybody to succeed. I want all the good things to happen. But, but here's the thing: it's like if free money could work, everybody could be a millionaire. I'd be all for it. What I'm saying is, I'm not for it if it's not going to work. And I know that it's not going to work because history has shown it time and time again. It's not going to work. All that's going to happen is we're going to just kill a lot of people. I'm talking Megadeth.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's yeah, not until the point where humanity I think it really comes with a spiritual awakening of people claiming their own personal responsibility and their responsibility to create their own energy, to create their own, communities and have strong communities and their own governance systems and self governance and things like that. And only until then, and until we become very decentralized, no central systems are easy to bring down because there's single points of failure.
Here's
Uh,
here's here's the sad part. Like I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to the Conspiracy Politics channel. I've been having a great conversation with a friend called Mike House. He's a good guy. He's a good guy, but he really believes in the universal basic income.
yeah,
I I think it's neat, but if you, it's not to be discounted because if you take away all of our wars, if you take away all of our wars and spend all that money towards universal basic, it could be a beautiful thing. Could be a beautiful thing. I mean, it's more beautiful. It's more beautiful than it is ugly because we shouldn't be in all these foreign wars to begin with. We shouldn't be in these wars. We shouldn't be killing all these people. The
Yeah,
thing that the thing that
I'll
they don't under,
I'll agree on let's get out of the wars for sure.
the thing that they don't understand is America has no industry. All we have is our petrodollar, our ability to fuck people up, fuck nations up. We can kill people, we can destroy people, we can offer security to you and your country. You need security, because we can bomb the hell out of people. That's what we can do as Americans. We can kill people. That's what we can do. We can kill people and we can export our fake money to nations. That's what we do. That's all that we can do.
I'm not
So
for killing people.
yeah, it's horrible. It's
Yeah,
absolute. It's
that's
absolutely horrible.
that's why if you don't want to be a part of that, then a big thing is to start getting out of using the dollar as much as you can. To quit supporting that system and then empower yourself with knowledge like the guys at livefreenow.org, Payman Motadehe, the president and founder of Freedom Law School that I had on not too long ago. I had him on that tells you about ways that you can get outside of paying the IRS and actually empowering yourself with knowledge to beat the IRS. And so go check him out for sure.
No, no. There's one catch to that guy's situation. Like for instance, like you can't find any law out there that requires the average American to pay. Um, what's it? There's a catch to that. There's a
Income
catch to
tax
that.
on your labor and wages.
There's no law that makes the average American liable for an income tax. But
on
that
on your labor and wages
right, right.
as defined in their code.
There's a lot of catch there. There's a lot of tricky wordsmith and stuff. Yeah,
Well,
I
that
understand.
well that's why he put out this challenge. He put out the $300,000 reward challenge there for anybody that can
And the
find
law
it.
that find the law that makes you liable
Three hundred
for an
thousand
income tax.
dollars if you can find it. Go look it up, and if you can find it, then you can get that reward.
There's so many catches there, and there's so many ways that he can get out of not paying that. Even if you did find something, the words is going to be made up in such a way that it's not going to pay out, yeah, regardless. But I'm not saying that I don't respect his efforts. I respect his efforts, but he can wiggle out of that easy.
Well, regardless, there is materials there that you can work with. I'm working with it
Oh no, no, I agree, I agree,
to
I agree, I agree with you
to
100%.
to
Agree with
get
you
out
100%.
of them withholding their the part-time job I have from them from withholding the taxes from a paycheck. So
Listen, if you think about it, that the amount that you haven't received back your income taxes, all you
yeah,
got to do this is a very simple fucking math problem. It's a very simple math problem. Take the amount in taxes that you didn't receive back at the end of the year and divide it by your hourly wage, and then determine how long that you were a slave to the government. Determine how long was I the government's bitch. That's all you
yeah,
got to do. Take the amount that you didn't receive back at the end of the year that you paid in income taxes, divide it by your hourly wage, divide that by the number of hours that you work in a day, and you can figure out how many days in the week or in a month or how many months you slaved for the government. Then you can even go further with that. You can take that number and you can divide it by the cost of bullets. You can divide it by the cost of bombs. And you can figure out how many people you fucking killed in your goddamn lifetime.
yeah, yeah. Man, Patient Zero, you have a very passionate voice, man. You should get your own radio show going, man.
I don't know, man. All I'm saying is I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it all.
Yeah, me too.
It's disgusting. The whole fucking system is disgusting, and we are pushing it. I'm pushing it. You're pushing anybody who pays into it. We're pushing it. Now, listen, I'm not saying don't push into it. I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is that we have to understand at some point there's a little bit of personal responsibility, and we're all involved in making this thing work or fail. We are all involved in the death of murder of everybody on this goddamn planet.
Yeah,
We're
yeah,
doing
man.
it. We are doing it to ourselves. We are screwing the whole world ourselves. We're doing it. You know why? Because we're scared to go to jail. We're scared to go to jail. What happens if you stop paying your income tax? Go to jail. Oh, it's scary as fuck, isn't it? It's scary as fuck not to bomb somebody in fucking Afghanistan. It's scary as fuck not to be part of the problem.
Yeah. Yeah, and so there's real opportunities to empower yourselves with some knowledge. And that was another thing that I wanted to get into today, actually, was to get into the book that I showed everybody how to download last week, was the UCC connection, how to free yourself from legal tyranny, and go into that a little bit. So yeah.
What's your biggest take on the UCC? What stands out the most to you? What's the most beneficial piece of information?
I think the most beneficial piece is to write on any fine or fee, to write without prejudice UCC 1-308, which reserves all your rights to not be put into a contract which you are not aware of. So anytime you write or you go and get a license or any of these things, or you get a ticket or any of these things, you write without prejudice UCC 1-308, and this brings you to the your rights reserved to not be put into involuntary contracts that you are not aware of. And that is the biggest that was the biggest takeaway I had from reading that book. And like I showed you last week, if you download.
What you're saying. Let me just explain this for people who aren't listening, who aren't understanding, and I guarantee you, 95% of the people didn't hear what you just said, but I heard what you said. I heard what you said, and you said that there is a short blurb of text you could put on any fucking contract, especially forcibly contracts that the police make you sign. There's a small blurb of text that disclaims you hidden contracts that you can't see and totally relieves you of all that.
Yes. Yes.
It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing because if you say
But
I
but
agree under the circumstances that if there's shit that I don't understand here, that I don't agree to that, then I won't agree to that.
but you need to understand what that means. You really got to understand what that means. And so
What does it mean? How can you make me understand that in the next 10 minutes?
so that's the key of going through this document. But in summary, it is uh, it is saying that you reserve your rights under common law, and that you're not subjecting yourself to any contracts of which you are not aware of. It doesn't mean that you're not a prejudiced person or anything like that, because
Let me ask you this. Did you see the video, the Canadian video? I think it was, well, maybe it wasn't Canadian. This hippie woman, she was blowing bubbles in a policeman's face, and he's like he got all upset. Did you see that? Did you see that video? The black cop, the white woman, she was blowing bubbles in his face. Did you see that at all?
no, I haven't seen that.
Well, it's like he was trying to make a verbal contract with her. He was like, "You understand?" She's like, "Yeah, I understand." Right? And she totally screwed herself by making that contract with him.
Right. Yeah, that's the thing that you got to really watch out for. So, Uh, so yeah, yeah, you got to go into it. You got to go into it yourself, and you got to go look up the Uniform Commercial Code. Basically, kind of what I was going to go into a little bit. This podcast was how that all started, and this commercial code got started. Uh, and it goes back to 1938, and there's a whole story about that. And definitely go and look up that book, UCC Connection: How to Free Yourself from Legal Tyranny. And you can learn that, 1938, the United States went bankrupt, and it in those now exists in a state of bankruptcy, and is owned by international bankers, and is under the corporation to pay back the creditors. So you can get into all that by getting into that book and empower yourself with that knowledge. So there you go. All right, Patient Zero, I really appreciate you coming on with me. I'll leave you with the last word. We're coming up on the end of the show. I'll leave you with any last words that you'd like to share with the audience here. It's been really great. Been really great to have you on here today and get to hear your voice for the first time, man. I love you being in the audience and interacting, and love everything that you bring out and as far as information and everything. So it's really good to hear your voice.
It was great. It was great to talk to you, and I respect and appreciate what you're doing. Even though I don't jive with it 100%, I know that I should. I feel horrible that I don't as much as I should, because I know that we are so up shit's creek without a paddle, say. And all I'm saying is, like, there's so much going on, and yeah, I'm running out of ideas. I gotta just give me a button here, but thank you so much.
All right, Patient Zero, thank you for coming on. I really appreciate getting to talk to you and hearing what you have to say about all these issues that are going on in the world right now. So thank you, brother. Thank you all for coming and hanging out for the show. While we got a little bit of time left, definitely stay tuned for the Cyber Buzz. I believe that's what it is. Cyber Buzz with Crimson Clad coming up next. And thank you all for coming out and hanging out for the show today. Great conversation with Patient Zeros. I really appreciated him coming on and talking. And I wanted to kind of just go through maybe a little bit of this real quick while we're in here. So let's see. Part of this UCC connection page in this book is when he talks about going into America is bankrupt. And so he had made a friend with a judge, and he had gotten into it with him about this Supreme Court case. And he said something, as long as the ruling is post 1938. So he says, in 1938, all hired judges, the top attorneys, U.S. attorneys were called into a secret meeting, and this is what we were told. America is a bankrupt nation. It is owned completely by its creditors. The creditors own the Congress, they own the executive, they own the judiciary, and they own all the state governments. Take silent judicial notice of this fact, but never reveal it openly. Your court is operating under admiralty jurisdiction. Call it anything you want, but do not call it admiralty. And then in the next section, it goes on to say, the reason they cannot call it admiralty jurisdiction is that your defense would be quite different in admiralty jurisdiction than your defense under the common law. In admiralty, there is no court which has jurisdiction unless it is a valid international contract in dispute. If you know it is admiralty jurisdiction and they have admitted on record that you are in an admiralty court, you can demand that the international maritime contract to which you are supposed party in which you supposedly have breached be placed into evidence. No court has admiralty maritime jurisdiction unless there is a valid international maritime contract which has been breached. So you say, just innocently like a lamb, well, I never got involved with an international maritime contract, so I deny that such a contract exists. If this court is taking jurisdiction in admiralty, then place the contract in evidence so that I might challenge the validity of the contract. What they would have to do is place the national debt into evidence. They would have to admit that the international bankers own the whole nation and that we are their slaves. So there you go. So anyway, that's part of the UCC connection and what's happened in 1938. And so this is just something that I would like you guys to go and look up for yourself and get into and start looking into all this stuff. And thank you once again for everybody that comes and hangs out for the show. I really appreciate everybody that came and hung out today. And definitely stay tuned for Crimson Clad show coming up next. Shout out to everybody that's hanging out right now. We got CryptoPie, we got Dracos, we got Foxit, we got Inertia, and we got Claw, we got Lax, Mexican Spock, Patient Zero, Rondon, Reverse Sociology, and we got Solo Gang, hashtag Solo Gang. Thank you all for hanging out for the Meadows and Makers podcast this week. I really appreciate all you guys coming to hang out with me.